A long time ago, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a storyteller. He used his experience as a teller of fairy tales, combined with his love of new technology, to tell a classic story of the triumph of good over evil, with memorable characters, told with stunning art and animation. A classic film that has been beloved by generations. Join the celebration as we explore the magic behind-the-scenes story of Walt Disney's dazzling masterpiece, Sleeping Beauty.
It's always a challenge bringing a great story classic to the screen, giving visual form to characters and places that have only existed in the imagination. But it's the kind of challenge we enjoy.
Well, Walt had built his feature film output on the cornerstone of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That was the first feature the studio attempted. It was, wildly successful beyond anyone's expectations. But it became sort of the comparison point for everything that followed.
Disney began the ambitious plans for his third feature-length animated fairy tale in the early 1950s. Walt assigned a small team to begin adapting the classic fairy tale to the style of a Disney feature.
Yeah, I think it was at least as early as '52. We thought it was real great. It had some little gnomes type fairies. It was a whole different type of picture.
This early work resulted in a completed storyboard presentation in June of 1952. Walt concluded, however, that this story approach was too similar to past Disney efforts. If the Disney staff returned to the fairy tale, they could not simply duplicate Snow White or Cinderella.
Walt took this on, I think, as a special challenge. He wanted to make this film as special and as different as he could. He wanted to make a film that he felt would be the pinnacle of achievement in animation.
This fresh approach to Sleeping Beauty would push the boundaries of animation with its distinctive and exquisite art.
My gift shall be the gift of beauty.
They wanted it to look different from any other film they had made before, and in this they were aided immeasurably by a very gifted artist named Eyvind Earle, who came up with a very stylized and modern look for the film.
I came to work for Disney's in 1951, more than 10 years after I first tried to get into the studio. Of course, it was the greatest job in the whole world for me, and I remember Walt saying, "Let's see what Eyvind can do."
In searching for a style for a cartoon feature, many considerations are necessary. For one thing, it must be more than merely pleasing to the eye. The backgrounds must harmonize with the animated characters, as well as fit the mood of the story and the music. Sleeping Beauty is a fairy tale that is supposed to have taken place long, long ago. So we did a great amount of research into medieval painting and architecture before we arrived at the right styling for this picture.
Eyvind Earle's unique and modern graphic style perfectly realized Walt's desire to create what he called a moving illustration.
I've always been influenced by pre-Renaissance, medieval, Gothic, and here's a movie based on that period of time.
If you look at the old Master Van Eyck, you can see details on bushes miles away, as if everything in the whole picture is absolutely clear. And Eyvind felt that way about this. It's a fairy tale, let's make it like that. You'll notice that all the design in it is absolutely vertical or horizontal. Everything in it is based on these two juxtapositions of these two planes, including the characters.
I first started with the old medieval artists and almost everything that was Gothic. The tapestries were perfect examples of how foregrounds ought to be. The Gothic came from the Persians, and all their little details of grasses and weeds and trees fit perfectly. So I realized I could use anything that was in harmony with what I was striving to accomplish. And over all of that, a little tiny bit of myself came through.
I think in order to appreciate the complexity of the art and the amount of work that was done, you'd have to mount a museum exhibition to be able to